Hello and welcome to Chapter 6. We're going to start talking about chemical bonds and chemical compounds. You've just finished the periodic table, so you understand what an atom is. Now we get to put them together and see how they interact with each other. Section 1 is all about the basics. So we're going to start with the properties of compounds. And the property of a compound depends on a couple of things. Which atoms the compound contains and how the atoms are arranged. Now, just because you've got certain atoms in there doesn't mean, okay, well, then it's going to have these properties. For example, water. Water is H2O. That means that it's got hydrogen and oxygen in it. Well, hydrogen is a clear, see-through, transparent gas. Oxygen is a transparent gas, but when you put them together, they make a liquid. So you can't say just because these are the properties of hydrogen and these are the properties of oxygen that they're going to have those properties when you combine them. When you combine them, you make a chemical change, and so the properties are different. Okay? The properties of compounds are different than the properties of the elements that make them. Let me give you another example. Carbon dioxide is the gas that you breathe out, that you exhale. And that's made of oxygen, a colorless gas, and carbon, which is like coal. It's a solid. But when you put them together, it makes a gas. Now, when you take hydrogen and oxygen and carbon and you put them together, you get sugar. So once you take your elements and put them into compounds, the properties can be completely different. But the properties of all of the sugar compounds are all going to be the same, or all of the water compounds, or all of the carbon dioxide. You get what I'm saying. Compounds always form in ratios. So any given compound is going to contain a specific number of atoms. You can't just throw a whole bunch of hydrogen and a whole bunch of oxygen into a box and expect water to magically appear. They always form very specific compounds. There's always 2 hydrogen for every oxygen. If you change that ratio, it's like a recipe. If you change the recipe, you get a completely different substance. We call this ratio a chemical formula. And we're going to work with these formulas in a bunch of different ways over the next few chapters. So I really need you to understand chemical formulas. Look, chemical formulas. They use symbols and subscript numbers to tell the elements in a compound and to tell the ratios. For example, H2O. You've got it, the H and the O, which are the symbols that represent the elements. And then the 2, the number 2 is a subscript. Notice it goes under the line a little bit. Under, like submarine. And that tells you that there are 2 hydrogens. Now there isn't a number after oxygen because it's understood that if I put oxygen there that you know that there's 1, and I don't have to actually put a number unless there's 2 or more. So if there's no number, you assume that there's 1. The same elements in different numbers can create very different compounds with different properties. For example, 2 H's and 1 O is water, but 2 H's and 2 O's is hydrogen peroxide. Try drinking that. So a lot of very different properties. So, and that's it. Ta-da! That's section 1. It's supposed to be nice and gentle and give you some time to get your vocabulary finished. So make sure you get that finished and that I see your notes tomorrow, and I hope you have a good day. Take care.